This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, thousands of people from all over the country descend upon the South for the annual Bluff Oyster and Food Festival. Sir Ian Edgar receives yet another award for his contributions to sports. And Anaoamaru School hosts a Technology Day for other schools to test their science and technology skills. Tēnā koutou katoa, namahi o te ahi nei, kia ora. I'm Simon Anderson. People from all over the country descended upon the South for the annual Bluff Oyster and Food Festival on Saturday. As well as dining on the delicacies, attendees got to watch the experts race to open oysters, with one participant hoping to win the ladies' title for a 10th successive time.
About 4,500 people from all across New Zealand turned up to attend the annual Bluff Oyster and Food Festival, with planes even chartered to fly seafood lovers down from Auckland for the event. One of the biggest crowd pleasers of the day was the various oyster opening competitions, with shuckers proving they could even do it blindfolded. Veteran oyster shucker Vic Piercy of Barnes Wild Bluff Oysters was looking likely to win the ladies' opening race for the 10th time in a row, but admitted beforehand that winning didn't really matter.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter win or lose, it's just a great day. As you can see, the openers over there, we all have a good time and just enjoy ourselves, yeah.
Each year, festival goers consume about 20,000 oysters on the day, and Piercy says the competition gives a chance to show the country the skills required to get the crustaceans out of their shell.
It's just where we get to show off our boutique industry, I guess you'd call it, you know, it's such a delicacy.
The day saw Piercy win the ladies' opening race in a time of just under 3 minutes, a little way off her personal best of 2 minutes 46. But the day wasn't over yet, with the first ever women against men race in the festival's history.
I definitely want to get in there and beat those men, and if I don't, it doesn't matter, but I will not go down without a fight.
In the end, Piercy lost to fellow oyster shucker Ricky Grant in a mere 15 seconds. She says she's happy having won the women's title 10 times in a row and plans to call it a day.
I've done my time now, so it's time to retire and let someone else have a go.
Next year's Bluff Oyster and Food Festival is set for the 21st of May. In Bluff, the South Today.
Plans for the redevelopment of Dunedin's St Paul's Cathedral, which was damaged by fire last year, have become more certain following a new report issued by the church. The damaged roof, which is currently covered with canvas, will get a new temporary roof made of plywood later this year. The roof repairs will be largely covered by insurance, and the church plans to spend more than $4 million on other work in the cathedral. The development will include work at floor level and upgrading the cathedral organ and heating system. The basement will benefit from more than half the allocated funds, making the area accessible and suitable for holding conferences, musical events and other community activities. A Queenstown-based businessman and his wife have been recognised for their long contribution to New Zealand sport and recreation. At a recent event, some of the country's top administrators praised Sir Ian Edgar and his wife, Jan Lady Edgar, for their philanthropic work.
A recent tribute in Queenstown for local businessman and philanthropist Sir Ian Edgar and his wife, Jan Lady Edgar, recognised the couple's long contribution to New Zealand sport and recreation. Sport New Zealand Chief Executive Raelene Castle says Sir Ian's warmth makes him stand out as an individual.
The thing that strikes me is you have an amazing ability to make the person sitting with you feel really special. And in that moment, I was like the new kid and you made me feel really welcome. So for that, as a new person into our sector, I thank you.
Governor-General Dame Patsy Reddy says the couple's philanthropy has gone far beyond just donating money to good causes.
Jan and Eon have followed up their extraordinary philanthropy with the gift of time and effort that they've given to these many causes. Those of us who've worked in the charitable and voluntary sectors know just how difficult it is to persuade busy people to give their time and energy as well as their money in support of worthy causes. There have been enthusiastic supporters and fundraisers attending and often speaking or presenting at countless fundraising gala dinners and other celebrations.
Sir Ian says everything the couple has achieved has been part of a team effort.
Can I just say that you only do things when you get a great team together. One of the things I've been lucky, and Jan's been lucky, for both of us, is getting good people around us. Some of you are here today, but if you get a good team, you can always do a lot. And the other factor, and Patsy raised it and others, saying humour goes a long way. You get into difficult situations, suddenly a bit of humour, it's amazing how it can break things down and you get on with it.
Sir Ian was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last year, but says he plans to be around for a long time yet, with many things still needing to be done. In Queenstown, the South Today.
The memorial archway at the entrance to Otago Boys High School has been closed to both pupils and staff. The area will be fenced off for at least 3 months while significant structural work is being done to stabilise the archway. The school says the structure was designed in the 1940s and so was never meant for the traffic flow. Over the years, as the amount of cars coming through the school has increased, the arch has started subsiding and twisting. While it's not a danger, the school has decided to refurbish the archway to preserve the traditional look of the school. Oamaru's Ardgowan School has hosted a semi-frequent Technology Challenge Day. The event is designed to challenge years 0 to 3 pupils in science, technology and maths fields.
Expanding and encouraging young minds. Each year, 5 rural schools come to the Ardgowan campus to learn about technology and interact with other students outside of their usual classrooms.
It's a great opportunity for these rural juniors that often are in smaller class sizes, so they don't have the other children to bounce ideas off, and so this is a great opportunity for collaborative learning, innovative thinking, being creative.
Ardgowan School Assistant Principal Sarah Hatting says as well as inviting schools from around the area, the school also opens its doors to families.
One of the aims is to get the whānau involved in what we're doing here with the rural schools. So there's the opportunity for a home challenge. This year the children designed and built model houses that had specifications that they had to meet. It had a height and it had to have a functioning door, form of ventilation, and had to be really creative.
The year 0 to 3 pupils rotate between 5 different rooms, each filled with a corresponding activity in the STEM fields. Year 3 pupil Emma Shimauchi Moore outlines some of the tasks the pupils have to perform.
We tried putting one block on the table and then put a popsicle stick on top of the block and try and balance 2 cups onto the sides of the popsicle blocks and try stacking them again and again and again and getting them taller.
While 7-year-old Ben Ibister says the group he's working in with Nate Anderson and Mason Wiley have already learnt something really important to construction.
This one right here, we decided to build it on the carpet, which made it harder because it would be harder for it to stick too.
The schools taking part included Totara School, Mahino, Hamden, Five Forks and Kakanui schools. Hatting says Ardgowan invited an expert judge to look over the pupils' work in the design and building categories. In Oamaru, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, the Dunedin City Council tackles bus fares once again and a grave in grave condition. We follow the effort to restore an important site. Ka kite a konei.
World, party time, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World! Chicks World!
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
Risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Poke mai anō, welcome back. A trial of $1 bus fares or free travel for short trips could be pushed by the Dunedin City Council. Cheaper buses could be on the cards for Dunedin commuters along with loop routes and more, amongst a long list of proposals. Dunedin City Councillors are set to debate draft submissions to the Council and the Regional Council concerning its 2021 to 31 draft public transport plan. The City Council may also ask the Otago Regional Council to trial a free city centre loop bus, review timetables and shift to electric buses. The City Council's proposed list of suggestions coincides with its seeking a transfer of Dunedin's public bus services from the Otago Regional Council to itself. A campaign is underway to restore a gravestone of a family plot that remembers Canterbury's first Victoria Cross recipient. Christchurch reporter Chris Barclay interviewed Korean War veteran Ken Wright about the plight of the earthquake-damaged gravestone.
Henry Nichols, a Victoria Cross winner from the Canterbury Regiment, died in the latter stages of World War I. Unfortunately, after the earthquakes in Christchurch, this is now
where
a
it
family
is.
plot that's
Some of them are stood up again, but this one isn't. I mean, it looks a mess, and I think for a chap who's got a VC, he deserves a lot better than that. Either by the council or by RSA people. Maybe they could take it under their wing. I mean, there's lots of little things you can do with this. Although it's just a chunk of concrete, it could be stood up and displayed a bit better.
Yeah.
I was in the Korean War, but that was bad enough. But these people had it 10 times worse, you know. And I'd just like to see something done. Yeah, clean all this, you know, and even put some paint in them, in the names. You know, it's just so they show up better. I mean, it does look a mess, doesn't it? Maybe this will wake somebody up and say, yeah, that's my uncle or my great-granddad. Or... You never know, do you? I'd be very appreciative to see that cleaned up, smartened up. They should be remembered.
A club rugby match between teams from the Dunedin and Harbour clubs proved to be a close-edged affair on Saturday. Played at Kettle Park, the game looked destined for a draw until a last-minute penalty kick determined the winner. Rugby aficionado Paul Dwyer spoke to the players.
Welcome back to IDT Rugby Chat. Just watched a great game here at Dunedin. Dunedin were up at one stage. They came back in the second half. They were up by 24 to, I think it was 24 to 19, but then Harbour got a turnover. They went 90 metres, scored the try, converted it. At 26 all, Dunedin looked like it was done and dusted. It was a draw. Dunedin came back down on attack. They were given a penalty from an offside from a kick, and that man Morby, he kicked it over from the sideline again to break Harbour hearts for two times in 3 weeks. So I've got Bruce Coker-Peterson with me, mate. So that kick, it's just deja vu from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's a hell of a detailed brief, mate, and it hurts to relive it. But all credit to the Sharks. I mean, you know, you take opportunities in footies and you win moments, and that's what you win games on. You know, and I guess Dunedin got the good side of that, and they won their moments when it counted. And I guess, you know, us being a young side and a mixture of both young and old, I guess we just didn't have that experience going into the late parts of the half. But all credit to my boys. You know, it takes a lot to be able to be up, go back down, and still find that ticker to claw it back. So all credit to my boys, all credit to Dunedin as well. Hell of a game to play.
Now look, I've got a 37-year-old debut player for Dunedin today, Neil Broom, ex-New Zealand opening batsman. You might have been batting 3 or 4. So mate, talk me through it. So you've been playing some Prem 2 rugby out at Shark Park this year. So you've turned up for your first game of Prem rugby. When was the last time you played a game of Prem rugby?
Oh, I remember playing a couple of Prem games back in Christchurch in sort of 2002-3 era.
Oh, so it's only 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So how did you feel?
I can't remember it. Yeah, a little bit nervy before the game, but you know, obviously had 5 or 6 P2 games leading into it, so I felt like I had a wee bit of rugby behind me, but you know, it's definitely a step up playing this stuff, and some big boys in that team, in that Harbour team.
Talk me through it, though. This is probably a game of missed opportunities for you boys. You were well on top in that first half, and you only scored 14 points. You had to probably lead 10, 12 points out in that first half?
Yeah, it's just, you know, that's footy at the end of the day. You miss that last pass, and, you know, you can do all you can to build it up, but, you know, if everything doesn't come to flow in the last pass, you know, that can define games. And I guess that was sort of the testament of today. Going forward, you know, we can only just keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully just get more polish in it, and we'll find ourselves hopefully on the other side of the coin.
Okay, so thanks, boys, and just thanks to Liquorland for sponsoring this, and we'll be back again with you next week.
After the break on the South today, the DCC says it won't revamp the once great venue, Sammy's, and we have a look at your early week's weather. Hea koko ake nei.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back. A formerly iconic Dunedin music venue is not going to be a new performing arts hub, according to the consultant's report. The former music venue Sammy's has been overlooked due to costs in favour of two lower-ranked options for a new performing arts hub in Dunedin. The DCC bought the once legendary music venue from the Chin family in 2017, and it's sat vacant ever since. Consulting firm Charcoal Blue has provided a $343,000 report to the DCC, suggesting the council's ideas of refurbishing either the Athenaeum or Mayfair theatres are its best option. The council has discussed the options during closed-door sessions, with the public excluded. Charcoal Blue is scheduled to deliver its next report to the council this month, providing further analysis on both Athenaeum and the Mayfair theatres. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Thousands of people from all over the country descended upon the South for the annual Bluff Oyster Food Festival. Sir Ian Edgar has received yet another award for his contributions to sports. And an Oamaru school has hosted a technology day for other schools to test their science and technology skills. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we welcome Hayden Meikle. Kia ora, Hayden.
Good evening, Simon. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Good. I just say a lovely wee clip there of Ardgowan School up there outside Oamaru, my old school actually.
Well.
My father went there and I went there and my son went there. So there you go. There's a little trivial piece of information for you, Simon. But it's not what you want to know, is it? You want to know what's in the ODT tomorrow. And it's all happening in the Otago Harbour. It's been a huge day of news out of the harbour, starting with Broad Bay, so the little settlement out there on the harbour, Broad Bay on the peninsula. It's set to increase by nearly 100 houses, which for an area that size is a huge amount. I wrote it down here, 2 subdivisions, 72 houses in one and 25 in the other. So we're looking at what that project entails, the sort of sections that will be on offer. Massive news. You know, Dunedin's crying out for houses. There'll be a lot of neighbours, I'm sure, who will be interested in that. It's a little slice of the country out there, so there'll be a lot of interest in that story. As indeed there will in our other story involving the harbour, submarine cables. There's a very delicate operation going on with the laying of these submarine cables, these huge, thick, new power cables on the ocean bed heading right around the harbour. So we've been out there on the watching these boats in action and got a bit of a yarn about what that whole process is like. It's quite fascinating. So more on Forbury Park, possibly. I believe we're still chasing the $64 million question, what's going to happen to Forbury Park itself, what's going to happen to that venue, but also where is the racing club going to go. So hopefully a little bit more news on that in tomorrow's paper as well. And now this has been an ongoing story, obviously, the woman in the Waitaki Valley who's been taking the petition to Parliament looking for compulsory seatbelts on school buses. And so we've got a really interesting angle today, a doctor who's treated lots of crash victims, including many bus crash victims, right in behind the petition, strongly endorsing it, saying it's a no-brainer and it simply must happen. And I think there are dozens and dozens of parents out there with kids travelling on these school buses who would be quite pleased to see the government bring in that law. So that's our major news, Simon, and heaps of other good stuff throughout the paper.
Strap yourself on, it's a good paper tomorrow. And time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
beginning with the southern view of pigeons out for lunch outside Dunedin's Town Hall. Looking to the situation, it'll be fine-ish nearly everywhere tomorrow and Wednesday, but the prevailing sun doesn't mean it will be warm anywhere. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, sun's out for Westport and Greymouth, 13 for both, the warmest it gets for the island tomorrow. Moving over to the northeast of the island, down 1 to 12 in Nelson and Blenheim. Nelson sees the sun as well. Blenheim's is interrupted by spots of cloud. Down to Canterbury, where Kaikoura is the only place with any kind of rain in the whole island tomorrow. Showers and cool on 9 degrees. Christchurch and Ashburton with both sun and cloud are barely warmer on 10. To the southern towns, light winds and fine across the region, but cool, 10 degrees in the Catlins, Balclutha and Lumsden, 9 for Gore. Very similar for the southern lakes, light winds and fine again, and hovering between 9 and 10 degrees. And it's fine and cool with light winds for the northern towns too, 10 degrees inland for Twizel and Omarama, 12 on the coast for Oamaru and Timaru. In Dunedin, cloudy and cold tonight with an overnight low of 3. The cloud breaks with sunny periods increasing tomorrow as moderate cool northeasterly winds develop, a high of 11 and a low of -1. Slightly milder on Wednesday, both sun and wind establishing themselves more firmly, a high of 14 and a low of 4 degrees. And in Invercargill, Dunedin's twin till Wednesday, you have essentially the same conditions, even the same temperatures. It's cloudy and cold tonight, becoming fine tomorrow as winds are introduced. Milder on Wednesday with long sunny periods as northerly winds strengthen. 3 degrees tonight, 11 and -1 tomorrow, and 14 and 4 on Wednesday. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai te pō. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.